Hello, welcome to Square One Games. My name is Exonovan, and this is my Road to Completion guide for Dark Souls 3. In this series, I will show you how to unlock every single trophy and achievement this game has to offer, and I really hope you enjoy the run. Before we get started, make sure to check my pinned comment down below for some very important information regarding this guide. As always, if you have any questions, leave a comment and I'll respond to you as quickly as possible. Enjoy the guide. Now, for those of you who've played Dark Souls 3 before, you're going to have menu options very similar to mine where it says continue, load game, new game. If it's your first time firing this game up though, it's just going to say press any button. Okay, so you press any button, it's going to take you to an online user agreement. Okay, go ahead and accept that agreement. Okay, I'll explain all that as we get into the guide. Just accept that agreement for now, and then it's going to give you guys the patch notes. Of course, you can go ahead and read through those if you'd like. And then you're going to be taken to, again, the menu options that we have here on the title screen, except yours is not going to say continue or load game, okay? But again, if you're following this guide, no matter if you've played the game before or not, we're all going to be selecting new game. We're going to be starting from scratch. We'll get through this cutscene, and we'll get into our character creation here. Now, when it comes to your name, obviously pick the name that you guys like. Now, when it comes to your gender and your age, none of this affects the ability to get trophies or achievements. You guys can pick whichever gender or age you prefer. When it comes to class, we're just going to stay with the knight, okay? And then your burial gift, I want you guys to select the rusted gold coin. Very important. When it comes to face presets, your build and your appearance, again, that's all going to be up to you guys. And then we can go ahead and finalize that creation and hop into the game. All right, so let's talk about our HUD, okay? In the top left-hand side of the screen, we have 3 bars, red, blue, and green. So the red bar at the top represents your health. Anytime that gets depleted down to 0, you're gonna die in the game. Now, obviously, you can take damage from, boss fights and enemies and stuff like that, but you can also take damage in this game by falling off a cliff. If you fall off a cliff too far, it can actually kill you in one hit, okay? So we have to be aware of that as we play. You can also take damage from status effects and things of that nature. Again, anytime that bar gets to 0, you're gonna die. Now, anytime you guys take a death in this game, you're gonna be set back to your previous checkpoint, which is gonna cost you some time and some progress in the game, right? That's typical with games. But in this game, you also lose your souls. If you look in the bottom right-hand side of the screen, you can see that we have our souls down there. Currently, I have 0, okay? But let's say that said 500,000 souls, okay? So I'm running through the game. I get to an enemy. We'll just say that this orange sign is going to be an enemy. I get to an enemy. It kills me, okay? Again, I'm going to be set back to a previous checkpoint, costing me time and progress. But when I spawn back into the game, I'm not going to have those 500,000 souls in the bottom right. It's going to say 0, okay? And I guess if it's your first time playing this game, you're going to be like, oh, shoot, I've lost those souls forever. But that's not the case with this game. It has a unique mechanic where if you get back to that point in the game where you died, okay, you're going to be given an option. Now, right now, my option reads, read message, right? But you're going to get an option to recover your souls. If you press the button and you recover the souls, you'll then have 500,000 souls in your bank. So it gives you one chance to make it back to your souls and recover them. But here's the trick. If you die on the way to recover your souls and you don't make it, you die again, then those souls are lost forever. You can never get them back unless you go out and kill enough enemies to accumulate that many souls again, right? So you get one chance. Now, if you guys have already read my pinned comment down below, you already know that we're going to be using the backup save feature that the PlayStation and the Xbox gives us, right? This will allow you to bypass this death mechanic completely. This means that anytime that you die in the game, let's say we have 500,000 souls and we die right here, okay? The second that you die, we're just going to boot back up a previous save when you had those 500,000 souls. Because I have to make sure that all of you guys can get through this game and we all have the same amount of souls at specific points in the guide, okay? So instead of having to run back and pick up our bloodstain and risking that, because I know that not all players are going to be able to go back and get their bloodstain. Plus, I have no idea at what point in the guide everyone is going to die. I have to make sure that we all have the correct amount of souls. you're just going to boot back up your previous save when you had those souls and then continue with the guide. Okay, now some of you guys are not going to want to do that. I know some trophy and achievement hunters are against this sort of thing. That's fine. You'll just have to farm for those souls. It's just going to cost you a lot more time than those of us who are using the backup saves, but you're going to have to make that determination on your own. Okay, but I would highly encourage you guys to just boot up a backup save. Trust me, it will save you a ton of time when it comes to completing this game 100%. Okay, so now let's talk about the blue bar. Okay, this is your FP in the game. If you have a weapon like we have now, a sword or some type of hammer, things of that nature, then you can use special arts that's assigned to those weapons, and anytime you use those special abilities, that blue bar is going to tick down. Okay, now we're going to be using a lot of magic in this playthrough, so you guys are probably going to hear me refer to this bar as the magic bar or the magic meter, right? Or using your magic. Anytime I'm talking about that, guys, you want to be focused on that blue bar. Obviously, if the blue bar gets down to 0, you're not going to be able to cast magic, so you're going to want to need to replenish that. And of course, I'll show you guys how to do that as the run continues. And that brings us down to the very last bar, the endurance bar or the stamina bar. Okay, I want to demonstrate how this works. So let's go ahead and hold down the O button and run in one direction. I want you guys to do this too. Okay, just hold down the O button, kind of run in a circle out here, and notice that when the bar reaches 0, even though you're still sprinting, even though you're still holding down O, you cannot sprint while the bar is filling up. Then when it reaches max again, the game will allow you to sprint. So I'm holding down O the entire time, but I'm having to pay a penalty because I did not watch my stamina bar. Okay, and again, once it reaches 0, you pay the price. Okay, now let's try this again, but I want you guys to let off the O button just before the stamina bar reaches 0. Now sprint again. Notice that I was able to sprint before the bar filled up all the way. Okay, that means I'm not having to pay that sprinting penalty. And this is going to come in handy as you're playing through this game, because we're going to be sprinting through a lot of these areas. We're not going to be killing everything. We're going to be sprinting past enemies. So let's say this tree was an enemy, right? And I'm running this way. I'm noticing that my sprinting bar is reaching the bottom. I'm getting close to an enemy. It's reaching the bottom. I'm going to let off of it and then sprint again. You see that? As I'm getting close to an enemy, I'm making sure that I have plenty of stamina to run past the enemy. The last thing that you guys want to have happen is you're running through an area, your stamina bar is almost depleted, you get up here, it goes to 0, and now you're walking past the enemy, because then the enemy's going to hit you a few times, right? There's a trick to this game where if you're sprinting, you can get past basically any enemy in the game with ease. You may get hit once or twice or whatever, but you just sprint past them, and it basically increases the efficiency you can get through the game. You won't be dying as much, and we're going to use that to our advantage. So I want you guys to get used to sprinting past enemies, and we'll do this in a second, but I just wanted you to know about that sprinting penalty. Okay, also the stamina bar controls your attacks. Notice that every time I attack, the green bar goes down by a little bit. See this? And I'm just hitting R1, guys. See that? Same thing happens when you hit R2, which is like a strong attack, except it goes down a little bit more. See? So notice that with my regular attack, my R1, I can swing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times before it reaches 0. And then with my R1 attack, R2, it's only 3 times. But I'm going to do a little bit more damage with the R2 attack. But the trade-off is that I can only swing 3 times before it reaches 0. With the R1, I can swing 5. Now, why is that important? Well, because the stamina bar also controls your block. Now, right now, I'm holding down L1, and the stamina bar is not going down. And it won't go down unless the enemy hits me. Anytime the enemy hits me with my shield up, I lose a little bit of stamina. Okay? And then if he hits me with a heavy attack, I lose a lot of stamina. Okay, so it's possible for the enemies to break your guard. If I'm blocking like I am right now, and the enemy hits me and depletes my green bar, I will stagger. I will lose my shield. I'll go through this weird animation where it looks like I'm, stumbling, and then I'm just wide open for an attack. Okay, so you have to kind of trade off between the stamina, what you're doing, right? If you need to run away from an enemy, right, and then you need to block really quick, you don't want to block now because look how slow my stamina is going up because I'm blocking, right? So if I'm running around, I've lost maybe half my stamina. I'm like, oh shoot, I need to block, and I block. Notice that the stamina bar fills up really slow and I'm being hit by an enemy, right? So I'm never going to be able to get my stamina back in time before the enemy breaks my guard. It's very important that you guys are watching that stamina. Now I want to showcase this for you guys. Notice that if my stamina goes down and then I want to block, I hit L1 and I'm blocking. Notice that I can let off of L1 and get my stamina back quick. This is very important. If an enemy hits you, okay, you're blocking, an enemy hits you, you have very low stamina, and then you're waiting on it to swing on you again. While you're waiting, don't block. Get some of your stamina back. When you see it go to hit you, block. When it stops hitting you, let off the button. Get the stamina back. You guys can control that and create that good balance. And I'll showcase this for you guys once we get to the very first boss fight in the game. You'll have to do this. You'll have to learn that mechanic to be able to get through that fight. It'll make a lot more sense, but I just wanted to kind of demonstrate it for you guys here. Stamina controls everything, okay? In most cases, it's more important than your health bar, okay? Because like I said, if you got no stamina, your health bar is at risk anyway because you're basically defenseless, right? So you always want to be checking out the green bar at the top, making sure that you have plenty of stamina along the way, and that's going to basically save you guys. Not only does it do your attacks, it does your sprinting, but you can also roll in this game by hitting O, just tapping O in one direction. You can see that we're losing some stamina there. This is a great way to avoid attacks in this game. Anytime that you get hit in this game, okay, anytime you take damage from a boss, I want you guys to just spam the O button. This is mainly for you beginners out there because anytime you roll in the game like this, you do get invincibility frames on your character, and it's very hard for the enemies to hit you when you're rolling, okay? Now, for those of you who are advanced players, you know that this is not always a good strategy, and it's better to roll in sequence with the attacks that the enemy is throwing at you, like a perfect roll, because there's no way you can take damage. And there's people who can get through this entire game, guys, without getting hit at all, using perfect rolls and things of that nature. But for beginner players, this will save you more times than not if you're spamming the O button to get out of the way of the enemy. So I want you guys to practice that as well. Okay, and this brings us down to the bottom left-hand side of the HUD. We have 4 slots. And if you notice, it looks very similar to your D-pad slot on your controller. And that's because they have it set up that way. So the shield on the left, if you guys hit the left D-pad, you will see that it lights up. You guys see that? Just keep spamming left on the D-pad. Basically, you can hold up to 3 shields in this game at once. I currently only have 1. So when I hit left on the D-pad, I switch to an empty slot. That would be my second shield. But again, I don't have one. If I hit left again, it goes to back to my shield, and that's just because it doesn't count the third empty slot, and I'll explain that to you guys in a second. Same way for the swords. If I hit right on the D-pad, I can cycle through up to 3 weapons in the game. Currently I only have 1 weapon, so when I hit right on the D-pad, it goes to an empty slot. Again, the third slot, because I don't have a weapon there either, it's not going to count that slot, and when I hit right on the D-pad, it just takes me back to my sword. Okay, anything in the top slot, which is currently blank, is going to be magic for us, which we'll be getting later on in the guide. And we're going to be able to hold, I think, up to 5 spells based on the build that I'm making for you guys. So each time you press up on the D-pad, you're going to be cycling through up to 5 spells. Okay, same thing goes for the bottom D-pad slot. Anytime that I hit down on the D-pad, I can cycle through. Now, the good thing about the bottom slot is that currently right now I'm on the Estus Flask. The 3 down there is the number of uses that I have with the Estus Flask. For those of you who've never played this franchise, that's basically like your healing potion, okay? The red bar at the top, let's say my red bar right now was halfway depleted and I wanted to use one of my Estus Flask, of course it would take it back and give me some health, okay? But the little slot over there on the right by the Estus Flask is underneath the sword is the rusted gold coin that I told you guys to pick at the beginning of the game. Anytime I press down, it'll just cycle through, but it shows me what's coming up next. So I know that the next item, because I'm currently on the Estus Flask, is the gold coin because I can see it. If I press down on the D-pad, now I have the gold coin, and the next one on the list is the Estus Flask. We're going to be switching through a lot of these items as we're playing through the game during boss fights and stuff like that. So I want you guys to get comfortable pressing down on the D-pad and up on the D-pad. And that takes care of the HUD. That pretty much gives you guys an idea of what's going on with everything on screen. Now let's go ahead and press options and go into our menu here. We have equipment, inventory, status, and then we have system. We're not going to have to worry about this one, okay? And then we don't have to worry about any of the stuff down here, just these 4 options, okay? So let's talk about equipment. Let's go ahead and press X, go into our equipment menu. A lot of stuff to look out here, guys, but I want to make sure you're pretty familiar with it. So in the very top 3 slots here, we have our right hand weapon, okay? This is right hand weapon 1, I have a long sword. The second slot, nothing. Just my fist, okay, because I don't have anything there. Again, this goes back to what I was just telling you guys about. I have 3 slots. If I go back out to my menu by hitting O and I hit right on the D-pad, I'm switching between those 3 slots. See what I'm saying? But because I don't have but 1 weapon, it automatically gives me 2 slots only. So I'm switching between slot 1 and slot 2. It just disregards the 3rd slot and sends me back to slot number 1. Okay, it just defaults that way. It just saves you an extra button press, right? So we'll go back in, hit start or hit options, press X, and those are the 3 slots. Same way for the shields. Remember, if you press left on the D-pad, you switch shields, it'll go between these 3 slots, okay? Then we have arrows over here and bolts. We will be using arrows in this playthrough to defeat one of the bosses in the game, so that's where those arrows will be stored. Then you have your armor. Right now we have a knight helm, knight armor, knight gauntlets, and knight leggings. And then of course in the center of the screen there, it gives you, you know, like different absorption rates and resistances, durability. You guys are not really gonna have to worry about none of that, so I'm not gonna explain it. If you're an advanced player, you already know what that stuff means anyway. If you're a beginner player, I've got you covered, guys. Just know that I'm always gonna have you in really good armor to keep you guys protected, okay? When you come down here to your ring slots, there's about 107 rings we have to collect in the game to get a trophy. So we're going to be able to switch those rings in and out. We can hold up to 4 at a time, and they just give you, you know, stat buffs and stuff like that when it comes to your character, resistances and things of that nature. So we can hold 4 of those at a time. And then the bottom down here, we have our quick item slots. Now the game allows you to hold 10 items at a time. Currently we only have the Estus Flask and the gold coin. Again, if we hit O and we cancel out, if you hit down on the D-pad, you're cycling through those. Notice that even though I have 10 slots available, because I only have 2 items equipped, it's only going to let me cycle through 2 items. It just disregards the other 8 empty slots, similar to how it does with the right on the D-pad with the swords and then left on the D-pad with the shields. Okay, very similar. If I were to go in here and press X and then go to an empty slot and press X and equip something else, then now I would have 3 things to choose from when it comes to my bottom D-pad slot, right? So we want to make sure that we only have on the bottom D-pad slot what we need for any particular fight, so we're not wasting time trying to go and, you know, press down on the D-pad and cycle through a bunch of items that we don't need, if that makes sense. So I'll be taking care of that for you guys as well when it comes to this guide. Okay, so we'll press O, go back into our quick item slot. Now one thing I want you guys to do, because I want to make sure that we keep our rusted gold coins, is I want you guys to remove that from your quick item slot. Okay, so like I said, if we pressed O right now, you can see that we still have it down here, right, by pressing down on the D-pad. So we'll hit options, X, we'll go down here to the rusted gold coin. I want you guys to hit square. You can see all those prompts at the bottom there. Just press square to remove that item completely. Now when you press O and press O again, you can see that now when we press down on the D-pad slot, we're just cycling through the only item that we have, which is the Estus Flask. All right, so let's press options again. This time we want to go into inventory. And if you hit R1, L1, you can actually cycle through all of your inventory menu here, right? And this will come into play a little bit later on. I just want you guys to know where this is. We're not going to go through these one by one right now. Just know that this is how you would access that, okay, through your inventory menu. All right, and the next menu option is status. If you guys press X here, you'll get a general idea of how well your character is doing in terms of its build. Now, of course, if you're a beginner player, there's really no need for you guys to worry about all these numbers. I've got you covered. I'm always going to make sure that you guys have an over-leveled character to get through the game. But if you guys want to come in here and just kind of look at all this stuff, you can. It's pretty self-explanatory. And again, you guys can hit left on your touchpad, go into explanation by pressing X, and it will tell you what all this stuff means. But again, there's no need to really have an understanding of this because I'm going to be walking you guys through the game. And of course, if you're an advanced player with this game, you already know what all this stuff is anyway, right? So we'll just go ahead and press O and then check out our last menu option here, which is system. Okay, we'll just press X there. I want you guys to hit R1 a few times. I want you guys to change where it says launch setting, play online. Go ahead and change that back to offline. I'll explain that once we get to the farming section of the run. Just make sure that it's an offline status, okay? When it comes to everything else, it's gonna be your choice. When you press L1, you can of course change your brightness again if you want to on the fly, whether you want blood on, subtitles, things of that nature. That's all up to you guys. I would look at the jump controls right here. Some of you guys are gonna prefer your jump controls to be O. Some of you guys are going to want it to be L3, and I'll demonstrate that for you guys when we come out of this options menu. But you're going to want to make sure that you pick the one that you're most comfortable with. There will be a few times in this run where you're going to need to jump, and some people just prefer one control scheme over the other, right? So just make sure that you guys understand that that's where you can find that. And in fact, I'll demonstrate that for you guys right now. So press O. All right, so what you can do is you can hold down the O button. Like right now, mine's set to L3. So if I hit L3, I will jump while I'm holding down the O button, right? Notice I lose stamina for that, okay? But if I go back into my menu here, I change it to O. Now I'm gonna have to hold down the O button and kind of double tap O. Now, if you guys are curious, I prefer mine to be on L3. Now there's one more thing I wanted to cover before we start exploring, okay? If you hit options, you can pull up your menu. Now notice when the menu is up, even though I'm tapping R1 right now, you guys can try this in your own game. Just keep spamming R1, nothing happens. You cannot attack while your menu is open, okay? To get out of your menu, you have to hit O, and now you can attack again. Okay. Now there's another way that you can pull your menu up. If you don't want to hit options to pull your menu up, you can hit the center of your touchpad. Okay, whichever one of those feels more comfortable to you. You can also pull your menu up that way. Okay, again, O to close. Now, if you hit left on your touchpad, you pull up gestures. So the middle menu, left on the touchpad is your gestures. Now, we're not going to be using gestures but one time in this playthrough to advance to a new area. So this is really going to be nothing that you guys have to worry about in terms of which gestures you have equipped to your character. But just know that there are 33 gestures that we have to get for a trophy in this run. But the game automatically starts you off with these. So you automatically have point forward, point up, point down, wave, jump for joy, joy, and bow. I just wanted to kind of point that out, and then we just have to pick up the rest to get to 33, and that will pop our trophy. All right, guys, hopefully you have a good understanding of the menu, the HUD. Now I want you guys to practice sprinting around these enemies. Sometimes they're going to hit you guys. Don't worry about it. Just keep sprinting. Watch that green bar at the top. Try not to let it get to 0. Pick up this item. Keep sprinting around this enemy. He held me up there. Notice that I just spamming the O button right there. Anytime you get in a corner, anytime you feel threatened, spam that O button, guys. Keep going. Again, watch that green bar. Hold down the O button. Pick up the Ashen Estus Flask. Now what I'm going to do here, and I suggest you guys do the same, is practice quitting the game. All I'm doing at this point is just running around and trying to aggro as many enemies as I can, because this will kind of simulate what it'll be like in the actual game once we start running around exploring areas, because we're not going to be killing everything. We're always going to have enemies chasing us, okay? Might have to kind of sprint around him and I'm just trying to get to an area where I know that I can quit the game without him bothering me, because I want to show you guys this slowly here at first. Eventually, you're going to want to get faster and faster and faster at quitting the game, okay? But let's just say right now that I had 6 enemies on me. Okay, there's 6 enemies coming down this path. I'm at a dead end. Obviously, if you're an advanced player, you know what to do in that situation. You can get in there and kill them. But if you're a beginner player and you're stuck at a dead end and there's a bunch of enemies on you, this is what you want to do, okay? You want to hit options, left on the D-pad, X, L1 one time. Just hit it one time. Then press X, left on the D-pad, X. That's going to quit the game. Anytime that you quit the game, all the enemies in the area are going to go back to their initial location. Okay, I'm just going to hit continue here. That's what I want you guys to do too. But they're going to go back to their starting location. So if I did have 6 enemies on me at that dead end and I quit, when I spawn back in, there's going to be no enemies around me. You see that? So I'm spawned back in exactly where I quit, and there'd be no enemies here. And notice, see the enemy right there? That's his initial starting location. So he's completely despawned. He has no idea that I'm here, and I'm 100% safe, okay? We're gonna use that throughout this entire playthrough. So the quicker that you guys can quit will determine how aggressive you can be with this run, okay? We're also gonna have some different spells and stuff that we're gonna be able to use that's gonna conceal us against the enemy. So it's not like you're gonna be chased by 6 enemies at a time for the next 20 hours, guys. But there are going to be a few moments where it's going to get a little bit dicey, and I'm going to need you guys to be able to quit rather quickly. Now, again, I'm going to have backup saves set up for you guys, so if you do die, it's not a problem. There's also a mechanic in this game where when you open up a door, you get invincibility frames. The enemies cannot bother you. That's a great time for you guys to quit, because you're just opening up a door. Nothing's happening, you can't die, and it gives you time to be able to go into your menus and quit, okay? But if you guys can get extremely fast with it like that, like you just saw me do right there, that's about how fast you want to be able to quit your game, okay? And I'll have everything listed for you down below in the timeline, but I'll go through it again with you one more time. It's just options, left on the D-pad once, X, L1, X, left, X. That's all it is, okay? And once you get that down, guys, and you can do it quickly, you can be super aggressive with this run, okay? So let's go ahead and run this way. Again, just watching my stamina bar. Run past all these enemies. We're gonna get ready to save and quit again, because we're about to fight a mini boss and we don't want to have to fight all these enemies at the same time. See how close that enemy is to me? Just come up here, get ready to quit real quick, just like that. Now when I load back in, he's going to be despawned back in his initial location. Now before we fight this mini boss, because we've already picked up that item, that Soul of a Deserted Corpse and the Ashen Estus Flask, we don't want to have to do that over again. We're going to go ahead and set up a backup save, okay? So what I want you guys to do is press the PlayStation Home button. We're going to come up here to Settings, go down to Application Save Data Management, press X, and then it says the following application will close, press OK. You're going to have 4 options here. You're going to want to select the very top one, Saved Data in System Storage. And you have 2 options here. If you're a PlayStation Plus member, you can go ahead and upload the save to the online cloud storage using your PlayStation Plus account, or you can copy it to a USB thumb drive, like a flash drive, which is what I'm going to be doing, okay? Either one of those works. I'm not really sure how the process works on Xbox, but I will have a link down to an article for those of you who are playing the game on Xbox. It should walk you through this on your console, okay? So again, whichever one of these you're using, you want to copy the save file that we currently have for Dark Souls 3, either to the online cloud storage or to your USB device. So I'm going to copy it to my USB storage device. I'm going to find that file, okay? Press X, check it off, and then go down here to copy in the bottom right hand side of the screen. I'm going to be copying the save file from my console to the USB, or in your case, it might be to cloud storage. Okay, press yes. And now you've officially created a backup save. You see that? So now we're going to just spam the O button, go back to the game. I'm going to show you guys how this works, okay? I'm not going to do any editing here or anything because I want you to see that it works. Once we get into episode 2, I'm not going to show myself saving every time because I think you guys will have it down by then. And if you don't, you can always come back to this episode and watch it. Again, timelines are down below. That'll save us some time when it comes to editing the next, I guess there's what? God, there's 32 more episodes of this thing. So it'll save us a lot of time in the playthrough. And here we go, guys. See, I loaded back in. I'm right in front of the mini boss, and all the enemies that would have been chasing me are no longer here. Plus we have a backup save here. So let me show you guys how to load a save. So we have a save here in case we die. Okay, so what I'm going to demonstrate is kind of what happens with your souls. So we'll go into inventory here. I'm going to go ahead and use the item that I just picked up, Soul of a Deserted Corpse. That's going to give me 200 souls. You can see that in the bottom right hand side of the screen, right? I got 200 souls. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to try to fight this mini boss, okay? But the mini boss is going to kill me because I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to take the death on purpose. I just want to show you guys how important it is that you understand how to load back up your backup save, okay? So now I just lost my souls. I just lost my 200 souls. I died, okay? So when I spawn back in, I'm going to have 0 souls, okay? I'm trying not to do any editing here because I want you guys to see this full process. Again, once we get into episode 2, I'm going to be going extremely fast with this, okay? So notice how it spawned me at my last checkpoint and I have 0 souls. Now my 200 souls are back over here where this mini boss is, okay? Show you how this works. We're going to run back up here. I'm going to show you the blood stain, but then I'm going to take a death on purpose before I pick it up. That way I've lost my 200 souls forever, okay? Run up here, you should see it, it's kind of green. See it right there? That's a blood stain, okay? So if I'm coming up here to pick that up, if I were to recover it, I would get my 200 souls, but I'm gonna take another death on purpose. Now I'm gonna lose those 200 souls forever. If this enemy will kill me, there you go. Okay, so I'm gonna lose those 200 souls forever. Notice that I have 48 souls now in the bottom right hand side of the screen. I'm gonna run back up there and show you that we've lost those 200 souls. You can only imagine if it was 500,000 souls, which there will be moments in this guide where you guys are running around with more than 1 million souls. So you can just see if you were to die at that point and you don't have a backup save or you're not utilizing those saves correctly, then you got to farm those 1 million souls all over again. So I highly encourage you guys to use the backup saves, but I understand that some trophy and achievement hunters are against this sort of thing. But my job is to show you guys what's possible, not to tell you how to play. But just know you'll spend a lot more time in this game if you decide not to use backup saves. So notice I still have a blood stain, right? But when I pick it up, it's the 48 souls, not the 200, right? Because I died in the process of picking up those 200, so they don't count. So now if I quit again, and I come back up here to settings, and I go to application save data management, close the application. Now I want to load the save file. Remember, we created the save file last time. I put it on my USB. Some of you guys might have put yours on your PlayStation Plus account. But now we want to find that file and put it back on our console, okay? So we want to go to save data on USB storage device. That's where my save is. Yours might be in online storage. But again, at this point, you're going to be using options 2 or 3, okay? I'm going to be using this one. I want to copy the file to system storage, okay? So I'm going to find that file, check it off, copy it, and I'm copying it back to my system. It's going to override the current save. You know, the current save, I had 48 souls, right? But now when I spawn back in, I'm going to be right there at the mini boss. I'm going to have 0 souls, and I'm still going to have the item. You guys remember I used the Soul of a Deserted Corpse to get my 200 souls. So I lost it. But now that I'm booting up the backup save, it'll still be in my inventory, okay? So again, if I would have died with 1 million souls, Now I don't have to farm those 1,000,000 souls. I just come in here, load back up the save file where I had those 1,000,000 souls, and when I spawn back in, I have that 1,000,000. Okay, I don't have to go back and get my bloodstain, and I don't have to worry about losing my bloodstain forever either. It's really good. We'll let this loading screen, see right there, boom, 0 souls. If I hit options, go into inventory, still have the soul. So it's a great way to create little checkpoints for yourself. Even though the game gives you checkpoints, these are permanent checkpoints, and you cannot lose your souls, and you can always redeem your items. Okay, so now we want to focus on killing this mini boss. So I want you guys to practice. Okay, we're going to hold down the L1 button to block. We're going to come up here, we're going to target just by hitting your R3 button. Okay, notice my stamina. Okay, notice that I'm just walking around in a tight circle to the right around this enemy, and most of the time it misses me. Okay, you guys see that, right? Now anytime it hits me, I'm going to take the hit. Let me back up a little bit because we're near that wall. Sometimes when you're around those walls, you can't continue to strafe, and you'll take some hits. Just keep your lock on. Geez, he keeps going to that wall. Let me get him right here in the center. Okay, keep circling. Just keep looking up at your stamina bar. Notice that I just took a hit. Now, if I hold down L1 now, it's building up slowly. We talked about this. My stamina bar is building up slowly. We don't want that, okay? Anytime we take a hit, we want the stamina bar to come back fast. Let me just take a hit here on purpose. Not that hit. I want him to hit me physically. Okay. Notice that I'm letting off the L1 button, and notice how fast the stamina bar built back up. See that? Builds back up quick. So anytime you get hit, let off of your block. That time he hit me with magic. Let off of your block button. Let it build back up fast, and then block again. Okay. Now I want you guys to add in some attacks. So keep circling around. Anytime he hits you, hit him 1 time. Let your stamina bar build back up. Hit him once, stamina bar up, block. Once, block. See that? Stamina bar goes back up. Anytime he swings at you, sometimes he misses, sometimes he hits you. Either way, I want you guys to hit him 1 time. Now you can kill him a lot quicker than this, but I want you guys practicing stamina management with this fight. Okay, notice that I'm getting hit some with the magic, but we have 3 Estus Flask, which we'll use in a second if we get too low on health, because you guys might get low on health here, just because I want this fight to take you guys some time. Okay. Again, just 1 time here, circle, let the stamina build back up. The reason why we're only hitting him 1 time is because the more times you hit him, well, you're losing stamina, right? And then if you hit him, if you try to spam attacks, which is possible, you're gonna run out of stamina. Then you're gonna be open for his next hit, right? So then you're not protecting your health bar. So sometimes fighting these enemies slow, yeah, I mean, yes, it's gonna take you some time to defeat them, but you're gonna be saving your life in the process, right? Because you're always gonna be having stamina to work with versus not, right? Okay, so once it gets down to about half health, you guys can be a little bit more aggressive if you want to. I'm gonna go ahead and heal. All you have to do to heal, guys, is make sure that you have your Estus Flask in your bottom D-pad slot, which you should, and then just press square. When you press square, you will drink the potion, and that will give you your health back. Now, you always want to make sure that anytime you drink an Estus Flask in this game, it's after an enemy does an attack. So basically, the enemy does an attack, then you drink. You don't want to drink just randomly, because the second you go to drink, these enemies will hit you, and whatever healing effect you would have got from that Estus Flask, they're just gonna negate, right? Because they're gonna hit you at the same time. You wanna think of this game like a boxer, really. You're just counterattacking everything. And when you understand that concept, you can dominate a game like that, okay? You're just countering their moves. And you can also use your strong attack here We'll wait for him to swing at us again. Hold down the R2 button like that. You get a little bit more damage, but notice that my stamina goes down more, right? So you have to determine that, which one you feel comfortable with. Obviously, I'll be telling you guys which one I feel like you should be doing per fight, whether it's R1s or R2s for your attacks. But, you know, some of you advanced players, you already know what to do. You already know how fast this fight can be. And of course, I'm not going to be doing any parrying in this fight. But if you got the timing down for parries, then you can really destroy this guy, right? But I want you guys to just get used to this fight, get real comfortable, and then you can proceed. And you can fight this dude as many times as you want to, because guess what? If I wanted to fight this enemy again, I could just load up my safety save, right? I could fight him as many times as I wanted to practice. Okay, you can also hit him twice if you want to get aggressive with it. Losing my lock on a little bit there. Because anytime you do 2 R1s, it doesn't lose that much stamina, right? And there he is. Now he's dead. So we're going to be able to pick up a Titanite Scale. You can see that we got 4,000 souls in the bottom right-hand side of the screen. And that pretty much concludes the live commentary portion of this series. Everything else will be post-commentary. And we're just going to be going straight through the game, guys. No nonsense. Get you guys through this thing as fast as possible. I think my total play time in this game was 21 hours. And that's what you guys are going to see in this run. I think the estimated time to platinum this game is like 80 to 100 hours. And if you guys follow this guide, I can get you through there in at least half that time. It'll take you guys a little bit longer because you have to follow the guide. So I'm going to turn you guys over to post commentary. Hopefully you've enjoyed the live portion of this run. I wish you guys the best of luck. As always, if you have any questions, leave them down below and I'll get back to you as quick as possible. So the next thing that we want to do is come over here and pick up the soul of an unknown traveler. It's over here on this corpse. That's going to give us some free souls later on in the run. Okay. And then we want to head to the very first bonfire of the game. It's up here on the right. Remember, we talked about this earlier. Bonfires are like checkpoints for this game. Not only are you kind of securing the progress you've made so far in the game, but you're also able to get all your FP back and your health back, all your Estus Flask, things of that nature. So we're going to run over here, take a left, hit up that bonfire. That's also going to give us our very first trophy of the game called Enkindle. We get that for lighting a bonfire flame for the first time. You'll get a prompt. See that? You'll get the trophy. And then you want to make sure that you press X a second time, because that's going to allow you to pick up another gesture called rest. Remember, we need to pick up 33 gestures. That's going to be your 8th one. I will see you guys in the next episode. Be good.